Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to Wednesday's After School Club program for junior makers. My name is Kim. I'm a community learning specialist here at DoSpace, and we are continuing our series for Wednesday for our kind of like maker-based for our young kids with circuits. And so today we are going to be making a cool kind of like controller, like kind of control pads with our with the Makey Makeys. So Makey Makeys is a really cool thing. So let me show you what it is. So this is Makey Makey. So it's like a little controller. If you think about it, like a controller on a like for your Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox, things like that. A lot of times our controllers have an up, down, left, right directional pad, and then they have like buttons like X to let you jump, or Y that maybe like you dodge something or you throw something. So this is basically what that is. It's just like a little control pad, or like just a circuit board that that allows you to create and control a program on like a computer or game or something like that. How circuits work into it is that this needs a circuit to allow it to work, just like a lot of things that need electricity. This needs electricity, and therefore we need circuits. Is kind of a circuit, like the idea of like a circuit to allow it to work. So as a reminder, a circuit is a path in which electricity flows, right? So how do we get our electricity from this guy to maybe like our computer that we're going to be playing our game on? Well, a lot of times, like we're going to be hooking this up to our computer, and which is where the electricity comes from, because most likely your computer has like a battery in it, right? That is either storing that energy or that electricity to allow something to work, or it's maybe plugged into a wall and outlet. And so, yeah, so that's where that electricity comes from. And then these also come with these Makey Makey kits also come with these things called alligator clips. And these kind of act as the wires or the conductive the things that are conductive that get us to an output, right? And so, and then our output is going to be the actions that is assigned on a video game. So the cool thing about this is like a lot of times there are programs that, kind of include coding. We're going to be using a program, a software, well, not so much a software, a website called Scratch, or the website is scratch.mit.edu. And I have found a program that is already coded, so we don't have to worry about that, but it's already made up for a Makey Makey. And the cool thing about this is a lot of times the controllers, right, have the buttons. You have our buttons, so you have, the direction or the X button that does something, and those, whenever you press those buttons, those close the circuit. Kind of like when we turn off and on our lights. When our light is off, our circuit is open, so the output or the light isn't going on. And then when we turn the light switch off and flip it up, it's closing that circuit, because we've talked about how circuits need to be closed to allow them to work. That circuit gets closed, and then the light goes on. It's the same with a gaming controller. A lot of times, whenever you press that button, a circuit is getting closed and it's telling an output to do something. And in this case, it might be telling like your character in your game to jump or to move to the right. But instead of buttons, or instead of touching this little guy, we are going to be making our own kind of our own pad, and we are going to be doing that with things that are conductive like foil and Play-Doh. So we've kind of played with, talked about how things like metals, foil, things like that are conductive, but we also talked about, we've done things in these past couple of weeks where we played with Play-Doh and saw how that is conductive, like with our squishy circuits. So we are going to be continuing that. And this is supposed to look like a banana. So keep that in mind, my yellow banana. And so these are going to be acting like my direction pads for arrows on all of them. And these are going to be my directions or like my up, down, left, right that kind of go along with this. So I'm going to actually get a little bit of a close-up on this. So you can kind of see this has the directional pad, our up, down, left, right, just like a video game controller does. It also has, but also not just a video game controller, but there's usually an arrow pad, up, down, left, right. There's also buttons on a keyboard, like on my laptop computer or a keyboard for your desktop. That has those, your keyboards have that as well. And then we have the space, which corresponds to our space bar on our computer keyboard. And then we have one that says click, and that corresponds to our left click button or our pointer finger button on our mouse. So if we're using a mouse, the button, because we usually have two buttons, right? We have a right click and a left click. I like to think of as pointy finger and middle finger. That main click that we use with our pointer finger, that's what that click means on our Makey. And then we also have down at the bottom an earth, and that just grounds us, right? This is actually going to allow us to make our Makey work. So that's going to be really important. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So yeah, so basically we're going to be connecting this to our arrows, that some that I've already made, and I can show you how to make this. It's pretty easy, obviously. And then I'm going to show you how we connect these to our arrows, which then will allow us to kind of move around the a little kitty cat, or Scratch sprite on Scratch. So it's really a lot of fun. It's really cool. So I'm actually going to turn my camera to a different one so you can see all the materials that you might need for this project. So it looks a little bit messy. I didn't mean it to get this messy. So for today, we're obviously needing our Makey. That usually comes with our Makey. It comes with 7 alligator clips, and then also a connecting cable that this is going to connect to our Makey, which is then connected to our computer via a USB port. We need some colorful pieces of paper. It doesn't have to be colorful. If you want them to be just white, you can do that. Or you can put this on cardboard or foam, really anything that you want. We are going to need some foil because we're going to create our arrows with our foil. We're going to need a little bit of tape. And then we are going to need something else that's conductive. I'm using Play-Doh, but I'm going to show you, and actually I can even share my screen with you really quickly. There we are. You can see that when I share my screen, you'll see our up, down, left, right, and then these bananas. And I did not bring bananas with me today. So instead of a banana, I have made a Play-Doh banana. So this is going to be one of our, when we touch this, this is going to cause an action as well. So before I kind of get into the kind of mechanics of how we connect everything with our Makey, I want us to look at, I'm going to move some of this aside. And I want us to kind of make our our control pads. I'm calling them control pads because like you can see, I kind of made some big piece of paper with some arrows on it that'll be really easy to touch. But you can also do something like this if you want. So I just I printed this off on a piece of paper, and then I just I cut it out and glued it on a piece of cardboard. So I put like the up, down, left, right arrows, click, and then you could put pieces of foil or Play-Doh or whatever onto this and connect your, so this is something else that you could do, but I like this because it's a little bit easier, a lot more place for you to touch. But really you can create anything to be your kind of because and then we'll need some tape and then a marker to draw out our arrow. So this is what I'm going to do first. Because I've already made some, these are my examples. I'm going to make one just to show you how I made one of these, and then all you'd have to do is make 4 more or 3 more after that. So they're pretty easy. So what I did to make my arrows is that I have some pieces of foil. So this is just like aluminum foil that I'm sure you have around the house. And so I just cut up 4 kind of squares of it, and then I'm just gonna put it together, and right in the middle, we're gonna move some of this out of the way so it's not as distracting. And right in the middle, I'm just gonna draw an arrow, and then we're gonna cut out that arrow, but instead of doing it one by one, we're gonna cut out, I have all 4 sheets kind of stacked up together, and we're just gonna cut out all 4 at the same time. So, but I just wanna make sure that, oops, I'm just gonna cut, like maybe draw it on one. And it doesn't have to be a perfect arrow, obviously. And so you can kind of see the green is a little bit hard to see, especially with the glare of the light, but you can kind of see how I've drawn my arrow on my piece of foil. And then I'm just gonna stack them all together and then just cut out that arrow so that I don't have to cut out 4 arrows individually. I can just cut out, basically it's like 1 arrow, but cutting out all 4 at the same time. So cuts down on our work, which is really nice. So pretty, and the nice thing about foil is that it cuts really easily and really nicely. And at the same time, it kind of sharpens your scissors. So if your scissors are getting a little dull, you can always cut out some foil. Fun fact. Okay, I'm gonna put my excess foil. And so now I have what looks like 1 arrow, but then if I peel them apart very carefully, because I don't want them to tear, I now have, because I stacked up 4 pieces of foil, boom, I have now 4 arrows for each of my directions that you can see. So easy peasy. Now you can see on our screen that there are arrows are colored. So we have a yellow arrow for the up, we have a green arrow for the left, we have a blue arrow for the down, and a red arrow for the right. And so I have some corresponding sheets of paper for that. And so all you have to do is really then tape our arrows down on our pieces of paper. Oops, I can tape that. I accidentally just tore that apart, my little arrow. That's the thing about the foil. It's a little bit, it's delicate. And so I'm just going to, but if you kind of just tape it down, as you can see that I'm doing, I'm just going to tape, I'm not going to tape all the sides down. I'm just going to kind of tape down maybe the bottom and then the top. But I definitely want to keep a lot of space, touchable foil space. So you don't want to cover the entire foil space with this tape, because the tape is going to act like a barrier or an insulator. And so when we touch it, which is going to activate, or it's going to activate, our help close our circuit and cause our input to do something, or sorry, our output or our action to happen. If it's covered all with tape, then we're not going to be touching the foil, and that's going to be really important. So just put the tape just to tape it down and put it in place. And then you'll just do that for all the rest of them, right? So I'm not going to do this for all of them just to save time, because I already have all of them done already. So then you could just orient your pieces of paper like you see on our program. So we have our blue arrow is going to be facing down. I know this isn't red, but it's close enough. It's going to be, pink is going to be our red, so that's going to be to the right. Our green arrow is going to be to the left. And then my yellow arrow is going to be up. And then you can see again, we have our bananas. I don't have a physical banana, so I have my Play-Doh banana. Okay, so now we basically have our makey, kind of the control pads already done. So pretty easy, pretty simple. Again, you could do this for anything. If you have foil, basically the arrows, you don't have to have arrows. You can make them anything that's conductive. Other things that are fun conductive items are you know, lemons, gummy bears, salt water, what else? Potatoes, lemon, or I already said lemons. Yeah, so, and this is a really great experiment of figuring out maybe what's conductive and what's not. So you could always use kind of like everyday items. If you have like some metal cars, you could do that, and you touch a metal car, and instead of the down arrow, you touch a metal car, and different, you know, things like that. So there's a really great myriad of ways that you can use these Makey Makeys. Okay, let's get our Makey Makey set up now. So again, we have our Makey Makey, and oops, and you can see on our program, again, we have our up, down, left, right, which corresponds to our up, down, left, right on our Makey Makey. But then that banana, it's either going to be the space or the click. So I'm going to test out on my space bar. I'm going to test the space bar out on my keyboard. So, I'm actually going to stop sharing really quickly, and I'm going to do something. And I'm going to allow computer sounds to happen because I want you to hear, because this is kind of sound-based. Come on. There we go. Okay. So I'm pretty sure you can see again. Oh, wait, not yet. Just a second. Let's share that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to press the space bar on my computer keypad. So I'm going to see if that's what, so because like I said, it's either going to be the space bar or the click that activates the banana. So let's see. Maybe it's the click. Let's see. Oh, can you hear something? I can't hear anything. I'm going to turn my volume up. I thought it was the space bar. Let's see. Oh, maybe I need to play. I'm going to actually open this up. Big. There it goes. Okay. I was like, I just made it kind of a full screen. And so, yeah, so when I press the space bar on my computer, you should hear meow. Now, again, if I'm pressing this on my keyboard, on my computer keyboard. So if I press I'm not touching this, like even though I'm touching my piece of paper, me touching my piece of paper right now isn't doing anything. It's me touching which you can't see. But when I press the up button on my keyboard, our little sprite goes up. When I press the down, it goes down. Same with left and same with right. And then when I press the space bar, it goes meow. So a lot of fun. So now we just need to connect, instead of using our keyboard on our, we want to make sure that when we touch these different arrows and then our banana Play-Doh, that's what causes the output or the reaction on our program. So we are going to need our alligator clips for this, and then this cable cord. So I'm going to plug this in first. So you can see that everything's labeled, but in the back is where you would actually plug our cord in. It's just like a little kind of mini USB. So I'm going to pop that in, and you know it works because the light went on, and this light is going on. Actually, these kind of things are kind of getting moved around, and I'm touching the ground, and so right here, space or left, right, it's going on. So, and again, you can kind of tell that it was working because of our light on the back. We're all good to go. So now we just need to connect different things. So first thing we are going to do is connect our earth or our ground, which is going to allow all of our circuits to work. Because we are basically creating circuits right now, right? Yeah, so I'm going to put this on just any of these double holes, because the nice thing about it is that these just kind of clip right into these holes really easy. And then the point of the ground is like you're touching it, and it's just, it allows the circuit to just stay closed while you're doing it. So it just needs to be touched. You need to be either holding the other end of your ground alligator clip, and you need to be holding the metal part, or you can actually just kind of connect it somewhere. I found if you have like a metal bracelet, and then I don't have a metal bracelet, I do have a watch, but if I just were to connect it to my watch, it wouldn't work. I was connecting it to my rings earlier, so I know then it's touching my skin. So I'm going to connect it to my rings again, so I know that it's touching my skin, but I'm going to actually take it off for the time being while we do the rest of them. Okay, so now we need to pick different colors to correspond with our up, down, left, left, up, down, left, and right, and then our banana. So let's start with our right, and because right starts with R and red starts with R, I'm going to do that first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this first alligator clip into the right facing arrow. And that is going to then, on the other side, I'm going to connect it because I left some space. I didn't tape. That's another point of why it's really good not to tape all around. You don't want to tape all around your arrows. You just want to leave, because you need to be able to connect or clip your arrow onto your, or you connect your alligator clip onto your arrow. So we'll do that. And then we'll do, because this one's green, kind of a lime green, we'll do the lime green alligator clip for our left arrow. So I'm going to connect that to our makey makey, and then connect the other side. Again, just kind of slide it underneath. There we go. So there, it's clipped onto that arrow. And then I have a yellow one, and we're going to do that for the up arrow. So again, just clipping that to our up arrow, and then this side is gonna, the other end of our alligator clip is going to clip right onto our up arrow. And oops, well, it doesn't want to stay facing up, does it? Whoops, oh my goodness. Okay, well, it's gonna be kind of looking a little bit to the side. Let's see if we can make it, maybe we'll do it this way. There we go, it's a little bit more up that way. And then because we don't have a blue wire, I'm just gonna pick orange, and that's gonna be our down. So I'm gonna click that, and it kind of gets a little bit messy, which is why these alligator clips are color coded, because it gets a little bit messy. It's easier to kind of know which ones are which. So that's gonna be then down. And then for our last one, we need our banana. So we know that for the banana was the space bar. So I'm going to connect this white alligator clip to the space bar one, the space, and the other side. Oh, there we go. Now I'm in frame. I'm just gonna pop that right in the end of our banana. So, and then I'm gonna put that right there. So I'm gonna move some things out of the way. Whew. You don't need to see my arm. And I'm gonna kind of maybe make it so it's a little bit all in. Yes, okay. So I'm gonna move this up a little bit more so that's in frame. So you should be able to see all of our directions. We have up, left, down, right, and then banana. And so because of that, and now we should be all set up. Now again, I'm gonna be just touching or holding onto my alligator clip. And so now, if I need to touch, say, the down, I'm touching the foil bar down, our little sprite goes down. Touching the left green one, head to the left, go into the right when I touch our right arrow, and then heading up. And then if I touch this banana, or touch our space for our banana, our little striped meows. So it's a lot of fun, and you can do so many really cool things with our Makey Makeys, and especially in Scratch. Scratch is a really great site if you're kind of interested in kind of learning how to code, but kind of in a practical way. There are so many ways that you can kind of learn and to do code with Scratch, and then do projects like this, like with Makey Makey. So you can make like a piano, you can make guitars. So I'm actually going to show you. So I'm going to go back on my screen, or maybe I'll just get out of. There we go. And so, so this is a program already created by somebody on Scratch. But if you were to search Makey Makey on Scratch, you could see that a whole bunch of other people have already made programs that are kind of compatible with Makey Makey, that use the up, down, left, right, space, and click. So it's really a lot of fun. So we'll get this kind of pulled up. There we go. And so you can see all these different projects. So people have made where you can play Super Mario Brothers using a Makey Makey. You can play the piano. You can do a whack-a-mole or Pac-Man, Simon Says, or have like a whole bunch of musical instruments. So there's a lot of cool things. Or if you want, you could go to Create and make your own kind of Makey Makey Scratch game. And so we're not going to be getting into that today, but there are, I know that there are tutorials on Scratch, and there's even Scratch Junior for like little kiddos on like that you can do on iPads and iPhones and tablets and things like that. So, oh, this is taking a long time. My computer's running slow. But yeah, so you can actually even just make your own program and then program, connect things so that when you hit the down arrow, something happens. When you hit the left arrow, something happens. And it doesn't have to be these arrows. It could be anything that's conductive or allows electricity to flow through it. So it is pretty cool. So these, you can see it's kind of creating a new project, and there's a tutorial that you can get started with. It's a lot of fun. So I'm actually going to stop sharing, and I'm going to switch my camera around so you can see me again. And say thank you so much for joining me today to learn about our Makey Makey and creating a kind of a circuit control pad to control a program using circuits. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you can maybe like get into it. Makey Makeys, they're not too terribly expensive. I think they're around like maybe $40 or $50, but they have just such a huge breadth of possibilities of making and creating. You can get into coding or in all sorts of different fun things. So if you were to search, you know, Makey Makey projects, you could see so many cool things. Like I've seen recently a gentleman like playing like a really complex song, like the piano, but with bananas. I mean, it's nuts though. It's so cool. So yeah, so thank you again for joining me today. Next week, we are going to be kind of stepping our circuit game up a bit, and we are going to be doing a really simple circuit, but instead of kind of the things that we have been, other than like an LED, we're going to be creating a circuit on a breadboard. So if you don't know what that is, that's okay. I'll be kind of talking to you about what a breadboard is, and then how to make a really easy circuit on it, because it can get a little bit complex, but I know you can do it. So yeah, so join me next week while we, and that's kind of going to be the end of our series on circuits. So join me next week for kind of our series finale on circuits, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.